Chapter 2, Preacher or Pimp. Ray would always say I'd either be a preacher or a pimp when I grew up. I knew what a preacher was because my grandfather would preach at his church on Wilmington Avenue. But a pimp, what was that? I never even heard that word until Ray said it. I wondered what I was doing that made him feel like those were the only two choices of how I would turn out. And was this being a pimp a bad thing to be? My friend Jay had this older sister Maya in middle school that liked me. She would come into the living room when Jay wasn't around and start kissing me and putting her tongue in my ear. I thought the ear part was weird, but it felt good to me. When I spent the night, Maya would have a friend over, and they made these tents out of bed sheets in his bedroom. Jay would be on his bed with his sister's friend, and I would be on the floor with Maya. I don't think he liked the idea of me messing with his sister, but her homegirl kept him busy. I remember he would give me this look like he was mad at me, but shit, I wasn't the one who started it. Maya was always on me. Jay was an older kid in my neighborhood who tried to bully me. When my sister and I walked to the park, he'd say things like, "Stay out of my park food," but that never stopped us from going. I don't know when or how, but eventually Jay and I ended up being friends. Jay lived right around the corner from where I stayed, and I would go over to his house to play. And sometimes our mothers would let me spend the night over there. Porno books opened my eyes to a new world. I could never get the image of a woman's naked body out of my mind, and sometimes that was all I thought about, having a girlfriend and doing the nasty with her. I didn't know what sex was, but it looked fun. My mom's friend Ray had these dirty magazines and videos in his back room, and I would sneak in there to look at them. One night, Jay's sister Maya let me put it in, and it felt so strange. It was all wet, and I never felt anything like that before. I didn't know what I was doing. I just did what I saw in the dirty magazines and videos. Even though I was shooting blanks, I was around 9 years old when I had my first sexual experience. It was some kid's birthday, and we had a little party in Jay's garage. It was like 5 boys and 5 girls, and the boys were all younger than the girls who were in middle school. We all had a girl each. What was supposed to be innocent fun ended up being a big-ass orgy. At one point, we even switched girls. My family and I moved around a lot. I went to 3 different schools in Compton. I attended Kelly Elementary, Lincoln, and Ronald E. McNair, formerly known as El Segundo Elementary. So I was always the new kid in school and got picked on by bullies. I tell the teachers, but they wouldn't do anything. One day this kid pushed me, and I turned around and punched him right in his fucking face. I got in trouble, but he didn't pick on me anymore after that. When my family moved to a different part of Compton, I went to Lincoln Elementary, and once again, some kids started bullying me. So I did the same thing as I did in the other school and punched him in his damn face. I got in trouble at school, but my mom didn't whip me. She was happy that I was defending myself against bullies, because she wasn't always going to be there to help me fight my battles, because living in Compton, the weak get eaten alive. One day in class, I wrote this girl a dirty note saying how I wanted to stick my thing in her and make a baby, and I drew a picture of 2 stick people with one on top of the other. I don't know how my teacher got that note, but she did, and sent me to the principal's office. The principal sat me down and asked me who wrote the note, and I said, "I don't know, I didn't write it." So they ended up calling my mom, and I was scared as shit. I didn't know what she was going to do to me. She came up there, and the principal showed her what I wrote. She had this crazy ass look on her face like when we got home I was dead meat. I knew I was in for it. My mom kept asking me if I wrote the note, and I kept denying it. Even though they compared the handwriting in the letter with mine, they knew I wrote it, but I didn't own up to the shit. I got suspended from school, and when we got home, my mom tore my ass up, and I still didn't admit to writing that letter. I didn't realize then, but looking at those dirty magazines and videos opened my eyes to a new world, like the forbidden fruit in the Garden of Eden that God told Adam and Eve not to partake of. I didn't look at girls innocently anymore. I wanted to kiss them, touch them, and do the nasty. My innocence was disappearing rapidly, and I liked the older girls because their bodies were more developed than the girls my age. Like the women I saw in those dirty magazines and videos. I would discover later on in life how my obsession with porn would become an addiction and affect my relationships. You live